Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jam Vishnupad Padamahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashatara Shishi Madhusvangari Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai Srivas Pandit Ki Jai. All glories to the assemble devotees, all glories to the assemble devotees, all glories to the assemble devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today is a special day. It is the appearance day of Srivas Pandit. So I'll read something about him, Srivas Pandit. Prabhupada, when he was in India, or when devotees first went to India, because Prabhupada came to America, obviously everybody knows that here. And then, at one point, Prabhupada had this idea to bring some of his Western and European disciples back to India and to establish temples there and to spread the movement there. And that's exactly what he did. So he brought quite a few, maybe 20, 30 devotees back. And everybody was just shocked, I mean, to see all these people from America and Europe, wearing tilak and dhotis and, the women wearing saris, and it was just... that never really happened before. So they were at somebody's house, and all the devotees and Prabhupada, and specifically this man, this Hindu gentleman, he told all the devotees, "Oh, today's a special day, it's a holiday." And then the devotees, they didn't really know, they just got to India, and they wanted to check with Prabhupada, so they asked Prabhupada, "So Prabhupada, is today a holiday?" And then Prabhupada said, "Well, we are Krishna's servants." So he said, every day's a holiday. Every day is a holiday for celebration. All right, so Srivas Pandit, so I'll read about him. Srivas Pandit, fifth member of the Pancha Tattva. We chant every day, right? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi. So Shivasadi, Srivas Pandit, Gaura Bhaktivinoda, lived in Navadvip before the advent of Lord Chaitanya. Srivas led his brothers Sri Ram, Sri Nidhi, and Sri Pati in their devotional lives of singing Krishna's names, worshipping the Lord, and bathing thrice daily in the Ganges. Meeting with Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, they studied Bhagavatam and prayed for an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Why did they pray? Because only an avatar of Krishna could re-establish Vaishnavism among the staunch atheists, logicians, and proud pundits, learned people, harassing Nadia at that time. Malini, wife of Srivas, was a constant friend of Shachi Devi. So you have Malini, who is the wife of Srivas, was a friend of Lord Chaitanya's mother, Shachi Devi. So Malini and Shachi Devi. She served Nimai as a nurse. When Lord Vishwambar appeared, the hearts of all the devotees were filled with parental affection. Lord Chaitanya loved Malini and Srivas as a second mother and father. So that means Srivas was older than Lord Chaitanya, obviously, his wife. Srivas Angam, the house of Srivas, was located 200 yards north of Nimai's house, Lord Chaitanya's house. Srivas Pandit's palatial home had large, comfortable rooms, a high protective boundary wall, and lush, densely foliated gardens and groves. Every night, Lord Chaitanya and his dearest friends would enjoy ecstatic kirtans here and taste the mellows of Vrindavan. So they'd have big kirtans at Srivas Pandit's house. Here, at the house, the raging Muslim Qazi broke the sacred mridanga in his foolish attempt to stop Sri Krishna's Sankirtan movement. So if we go there now to Mayapur, our ISKCON property, we're building the big temple, TOVP, just down the street, that's where Srivas Angam's house is. It's still there. They're worshipping deities there, and that's where they would have these ecstatic kirtans, Lord Chaitanya and all the devotees. And also, it's said here that at that house, Srivas Angam, that's where the Muslim ruler at the time, he came and he heard about all the chanting, and he came and he broke one of the mridangas. He smashed it. Because he didn't, he wanted to stop. Henceforward, Srivas Angam, Srivas's house, was known as Kol Bangadanga, which means place where the mridanga was broken. What is it called? Yeah, right. We'll ask you in a few days to see if you remember. The Qazi passed an ordinance prohibiting Sankirtan. Violators would be converted to the Muslim faith and lose their property. Although most residents of that place panicked over this, Srivas Pandit laughed at the fanatical law. Within Srivas's house, Lord Chaitanya showed his divine form to all his eternal associates. The house of Srivas Pandit served as the headquarters of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. The daily Bhagavatam classes, nightly kirtans, and many confidential pastimes of Lord Chaitanya occurred here. Srivas Pandit and Sri Advaita Acharya, the learned chiefs of the Brahmin community, dedicated all their energy to the Lord's Harinam Sankirtan movement. They surrendered their bodies, minds, homes, friends, family, and all possessions to Lord Chaitanya's service. They knew no other gods or goddesses. Srivas Pandit maintained his family, not because they were his relatives, but because they were Lord Chaitanya's loving servants. So this is where also it's saying that they have, it just said that Lord Chaitanya showed his divine form to all his eternal associates. So Ramapaji, is that referring to the Mahaprakash Leela? Is that it happened at Srivas's house? Oh, really? Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. Benediction to different devotees. So this Lord Chaitanya's Mahaprakash, it was that Lord Chaitanya, he was Krishna in the mood of Radharani, in the mood of a devotee. So he wasn't really displaying his godhood. He didn't want that. But in this particular pastime, Lord Chaitanya was at Srivasa's house, and he was sitting on a throne or whatever it was. And then he was calling different devotees up to ask. They worshipped him for 21 hours straight, and it said that they were asking for different benedictions, and he was blessing them in different ways. So, and everybody was just in complete ecstasy. There's a very nice description of it in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. But one particular devotee in Lord Chaitanya's Leela pastime, his name was Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta, he was a doctor and a great devotee. But he also happened to be the incarnation of Hanuman. So Hanuman came as Murari Gupta. So Hanuman, of course, in Lord Ramchandra's Leela, Hanuman is the monkey-like soldier of Lord Ram. And he's a very devoted devotee, surrendered devotee to Lord Ramchandra. And there's a whole pastime, Hanuman. So Lord Chaitanya was sitting there on the Vyasasan, and or on the throne or whatever, his big seat. And then Lord Chaitanya, he called Murari Gupta came, and then Lord Chaitanya started, his complexion he started changing, because it says Lord Ramchandra is actually greenish. Krishna's bluish. It says Lord Ramchandra is greenish. There's a picture right here of Ramchandra holding the bow, and then Sita. So, incarnation of Krishna. So, Lord Chaitanya started manifesting the form of Lord Ramchandra, greenish, and started just changing into Lord Ramchandra. And it said that in the house there was plants growing, foliage growing, and it said that there was monkey soldiers offering prayers in the four directions. In other words, he was being transported back into Lord Ramchandra's Leela. He was Hanuman. So anyways, so many things like that. Devotees were in complete ecstasy. So that happened at Srivas Pandit's house. Srivas Pandit maintained his family. Okay, Srivas Pandit represents the marginal living entity, Tatashta Jiva. The devotees headed by Srivas are described as Lord Chaitanya's smaller limbs, his face, eyes, hands, disc, other weapons. They all took part in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. With them, Lord Chaitanya spread the Sankirtan movement. Srivas Pandit is... You know who he is? Yes, Narada Muni. Narada Muni, Srivas Pandit is Narada Muni. So Narada Muni is the transcendental spaceman. Prabhu would say he's going around playing his veena, chanting Hare Krishna. An intergalactic preacher and constant associate of the Lord. All right. So that's a little bit about Srivas Pandit. So I'll read the Bhagavatam now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 11, Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. And we're on text 21. Ayusho pachayan jantos tataiva pachayan vibhuhu ubabhyam rahita swasto dustasya vidatyasau ayusho pachayan jantos tataiva pachayan vibhuhu ubabhyam rahita swasto. Dushtasya vidadatyaso. Please chant. Would you like to chant? Okay, word by word translation. Ayushaha, of duration of life. Apachayam, diminution. That wonderful word. Jantoho, of the living entities. Tata, similarly. Eva, also. Upachayam, increase. Vibhuhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ubabhyam, from both of them. Rahitaha, free. Swastaha, always situated in his transcendental position. Dustasya, of the living entities under the laws of karma. Vadadati, awards. That's how he. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is all-powerful, and he awards the results of one's fruitive activities. Thus, although one living entity's duration of life is very small, whereas that of another is very great, he is always in his transcendental position, and there is no question of lessening or increasing his duration of life. Purport. Both the mosquito and Lord Brahma are living entities in the material world. Both are minute sparks and are part of the Supreme Lord. The very short duration of the life of the mosquito and the very long duration of the life of and the very long lifetime of Lord Brahma are both awarded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the results of their karma. But in the Brahma Samhita we find it is said, Karmani Nirdahati. The Lord diminishes or vanquishes the reactions of his devotees. The same fact is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Yagya tat karmano nyatra. One should perform karma only for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Action. Otherwise, one is bound by the action and reaction of karma. Under the laws of karma, a living entity wanders within the universe under the rule of eternal time, and sometimes he becomes a mosquito, and sometimes Lord Brahma. To a sane man, this business is not very fruitful. Bhagavad Gita 9:25 gives a warning to the living entities. Yanti deva vrita devan, those who are addicted to the worship of the demigods, go to the planet of the demigods, and those who are addicted to the worship of the Pitas, forefathers, go to the Pitas. Those who are inclined to material activities remain in the material sphere, But persons who engage in devotional service reach the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where there is neither birth nor death nor different varieties of life under the influence of the law of karma. The best interest of the living entity is to engage himself in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur advised, "My dear friend, you're being washed away in material nature's waves of time. Please try to understand that you are the eternal servant of the Lord. Then everything will stop and you'll be eternally happy." Om Ganantipanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Maditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karadivachalam Pangamalanga Tegere Myakripatamaham Bande Shri Gurunderi Taranam Vancha Kabdurubhishcha Kripasindubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is all-powerful, and he awards the results of one's fruitive activities. Thus, although one living entity's duration of life is very small, whereas that of another is very great, he is always in his transcendental position, and there is no question of lessening or increasing his duration of life. So one of the most important qualities, and maybe one of the most difficult qualities to attain for whatever reason in this world, to help one advance in Krishna consciousness and actually make it and be successful, is this quality of humility. So it's one of the most important qualities, and again, it's probably one of the most difficult ones. It is unfortunate because although it's so needed, it's so difficult. I mean, if something's needed, I mean, like for example, we all need to eat every day. I mean, we just need to. I mean, you could try not eating and see what happens, but usually people just, it becomes like a tamasic, means mode of ignorance, kind of gloomy, weird thing. If people could fast for a few days, but after that it's kind of like, So we need that food, but imagine if it was difficult to achieve. I mean, every day you have to struggle. I mean, nobody struggles here at the temple to get prasadam. I mean, you just walk outside, there's breakfast there, somebody cooked, and it's not difficult at all. But imagine if it was difficult. Or people who don't live in the temple, imagine if it was difficult to get food every day. I mean, you had to struggle to get food. I don't know what you had to do. You have to, walk a mile. You had to engage in a boxing match with somebody. I don't know. Whatever. You could think of the different things you had to do. If it was difficult, that would be very unfortunate. Of course, nowadays, anyways, that's another thing, I guess. But, so, if something's much needed, but it's difficult to attain, then what's going on with that? Why? And in many ways, people actually make it difficult. That's the thing. Society, and it means on a more collective level, but also on an individual level, people may make things difficult. Because people are difficult sometimes. People are complicated, complex. So, So although humility is seen to be difficult, it's actually difficult because we've made it difficult. And we've made it difficult because all of our activities in the past, many lives and this life, and we've been cultivating the opposite. Means the opposite of humility, arrogance, rebellion against Krishna, against devotees, non-service attitude, and on, selfishness. So we've been cultivating that for a long time, and therefore it's difficult. Why? Because we made it difficult. And this really puts one in a situation which is very dangerous. Actually, it's a very dangerous situation. Prabhupada said about his, specifically for some reason, about his American and European disciples. He said, my American and European disciples, they don't fear Maya enough. They're not scared of Maya enough. Now, don't get mad at me. I mean, Prabhupada said, if you want to get mad, bring it up with Prabhupada. But that's what he said. I mean, I'm also happen to be from America too, so that's what he said. That we don't fear Maya enough. And Maya means so many things. Maya means intoxication, the entrapment of intoxication. Maya means the entrapment of gambling. Maya means, and on and on and on. Maya means so many things. So many Mayic activities one could fall into. And association, bad association. I mean, the world is absolutely full of bad association. I mean, it's like almost too full. It is too full, actually. So what happens is, from cultivating the opposite of humility for so long, then this produces within us this mentality of not being afraid of Maya, not being afraid of illusion. Means not being afraid of falling into illusion. And therefore, we freely just, we may freely take bad association of people, for example. Or, like Prabhupada went to a rock concert one time. Not to enjoy, but just, went there to preach, to spread Krishna consciousness. Now, sometimes devotees, especially devotees who aren't trained in the ashram, they don't necessarily see the danger in maybe going to a rock concert. Thing, or whatever movie theater or something. Yeah, let's just go. What's the problem? I mean, they may come to the ashram and stay in the ashram, and then they leave, and then again they have this mentality. What's the problem of doing that, right? Now, ultimately, it's like, okay, fine. It's not like you're going to, you're not going to, whatever, kill somebody or, rob a bank or something. But it's questionable how much those things have to do with Krishna. And it's questionable how much those things are actually going to help us advance in spiritual life, and practically or not. So I was thinking about maybe I'll start giving classes for devotees. Means ashram devotees and devotees outside. Say, going to the concert's evil. That could be the class. Going to the movie theater's evil. I could maybe give a class, explain all the intricacies of it. I'm just joking, but the thing is, it really doesn't. It really, like, ultimately speaking, I mean, if we're coming from a Krishna conscious point of view, trying to make advancement, it really doesn't help us make advancement. Anyways, that's a side point. But Prabhupada went to a rock and roll concert one time, mantra rock dance. And he went there with some disciples, and it was great. I mean, Prabhupada went on the stage. He gave a talk. He chanted Hare Krishna. All the hippies were going wild, chanting Hare Krishna. So then at one point, during the concert, what happened was, it was great. And then afterwards, Prabhupada was leaving. And he told his disciples, this is no place for a brahmachari. And he left, I mean, excuse me, you could imagine the type of nature of the concert. I mean, brahmachari means monk and whatever. Simple life, living in the temple. And so you could imagine the promiscuity and the drugs and all that. It was just probably soaring through the roof. So Prabhupada said, no place for brahmachari. Now, there was one assistant of his, Prabhupada's assistant, a male assistant, an initiated devotee. And one devotee saw him dancing in the dancing in the concert, to whatever. After they left, Prabhupada, all the devotees left, and then that devotee looked back and he saw that devotee, in the audience dancing, however he was dancing, whatever. So then, with some young woman, most importantly, right? So then, they all went home and everything, and then the next day, that devotee who was dancing went to Prabhupada, and he said, Prabhupada, last night I met this woman, and which was pretty bold of him, He said, last night I met this woman, and she's nice and whatever, young, and we want to have a relationship. So I'm going to go back to New York now. So this was in San Francisco. So he said, I'm going to go back with her to New York. And what could Prabhupada say? So what can you say when someone's and he just left. So he was, and you could say that, this was just illusion, this was just Maya. Yes, it's questionable how much he was thinking about Krishna and how much he was trying to advance in Krishna consciousness and how much he was, really, when it comes down to it, he was just falling into Maya. And, he was given at Prabhupada's association as Prabhupada's assistant. Given at Prabhupada's association to go back with some random woman to New York. So in this way, he didn't really fear Maya, you could say, and therefore he fell into it. He fell into illusion. So there was one, this pride really destroys or ruins one's spiritual life, at least for some time. There was one bhakta, he was in Croatia with Tirtha Maharaj, and his name was Dave. And Dave was a little proud, for whatever reasons. So, so devotees would, so people would say, oh, hey, what's your name? He said, oh, my name's Dave, And then he'd say, but you could just call me Guru Dev, So Guru Dev means that's like a entitlement for, one's spiritual master, one's guru. Like, for example, Indrayumna Swami, all of his disciples call him Guru Dev. Tamal Krishna's Goswami's disciples, all of them call him Guru Dev. So that's a title. You call your spiritual master Guru Maharaj or Guru Dev. So this bhakta, whose name's Dev, he said, yeah, you just call me Guru Dev, And he was serious about it, So, yeah, it was a problem. So that was one thing I wanted to, the time, wow, look at the time. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up. about humility and the need for it and the danger of not having it. And also how people are very eager, not everybody, but some people, like this Dave. He was very eager to be Guru Dev. But he wasn't very eager to be a disciple. So, but unless one becomes a disciple, they can't actually become a guru. They can't become Guru Dev. Because, and that means they're just self-made gurus. And self-made gurus are not qualified. Only gurus who are made by their guru are qualified. Means by their humble service, by their discipline, by their surrender to their guru, do they become gurus. Just in case any of you were planning to be gurus or something, I'm just not anymore. Okay, I spoiled your plan to become guru. I'm going to start initiating people tonight at the lounge. Means giving them spiritual initiation, accepting them as disciples. Okay. I'm glad I saved you from this, Maya. Yeah, we got some beads over here on the bookshelf, and hey, afterwards, if I could also give you a spiritual name if you want, Yeah, it's all donation based, Guru Dakshin, right? My hands are empty. They're really ready for some cash or some, you can transfer it right to my bank account, No problem, digital. So, yeah. Yeah. And also, people... See, Prabhupada, he brought Krishna consciousness to the West, and specifically, Prabhupada was completely fighting against cheating religion. So cheating religion means any religion or any process in which one is simply taught morals. Religion is meant to develop one's love for Krishna, one's love for God, not just morals. Oh, you be a good person. You don't steal. Okay, fine. Okay, but big deal. You don't steal. You don't steal. You don't kill. You don't, whatever other things. Steal, kill, lie. Yeah, lie. Okay, fine. These are precepts of Buddhism, for example, right? These are some precepts of Buddhism. Now, within Buddhism, there was a whole historical reason why Buddha came. Buddha is actually Krishna. And he came because people were cheating. Means the followers of the Vedas, they were using all of these Vedic sacrifices, with the fire. You throw an animal in there, you chant mantras, the animal comes out with a new form. It was a whole system they were doing, right? But the so-called followers of the Vedas, they're throwing animals in there, like a barbecue, just eating them. That's what they were doing practically. Having a big barbecue, So then Buddha saw this, or Krishna saw, what are these people doing? So he came mercifully as Lord Buddha. And he said, reject the Vedas, follow me. But he didn't say anything about God. Now ultimately, okay, fine. To gear people, towards morality, okay, fine. Make them non-violent, so on. It's good, but ultimately, it's really not good enough. Because it doesn't, practically speaking, especially in modern days or postmodern days, these postmodern days, if you just tell people, oh, don't steal, don't cheat, don't do all these things, actually, practically speaking, you need a very powerful process of to develop a very high taste in spiritual life, a high spiritual ecstasy, or else you actually won't be able to follow. And therefore, Prabhupada said that many of these processes are actually just cheating people. Means they're not really working. Like for example, anyways, I went to SDSU last night. things started kind of late. It was 8:30, but it was this. Anyways, I wanted to see what type of students this program had going. Buddhist. It's a Buddhist club, and it's run by this fellow Jeff, who has a Dharma Bums temple downtown. And he was there. Sometimes he's not there, I heard, but he was there and whatever. So they had this meditation, silent meditation, which God knows what people were, God knows what the goal is. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it wasn't really stated. You're focusing on your breath. You're watching your mind wander. I guess there's some value in silence. I mean, people just kind of... how long can you go like that, right? So anyways, I guess people feel something. So, but yeah, what's the goal? That's, it's questionable. What's the goal? Anyways, so the talk went on. He gave a talk, and then everybody was giving comments. And this girl, she gave a few girls gave comments, but sad comments, and one made comments. So one comment this girl made, she said, because one of them's intoxication, the precepts. She said, hey, we're at the college, and they have something that's called Wine Wednesday. Wine. So, and we may go out on the weekends. So I've learned, she said, that it's not exactly, you shouldn't actually be thinking, what is right and what is wrong. And then she goes, well, I'm not saying that it's right to drink, but you don't really have to be absorbed in that, what's right and what's wrong. And she said, but now through this meditation, I've been thinking to myself that I just have to be mindful of what I'm doing. So I have to think about, why am I going out to drink? Am I going out to escape? Am I trying to impress people? And these different things. And so in other words, she's saying that, yeah, ultimately it's wrong, but hey, I'm a college student, it's just, you can't really follow. I mean, come on, give me a break. And what to speak of sexual misconduct, which they were all talking about. Everybody was so eager to talk about there, which is probably a big issue there in all colleges all over the world, not just in America, India too, everywhere. Big problem, sexual misconduct. And yeah, we're college teachers, it's just going to happen, and just make sure that you don't go overboard, and you don't ruin somebody's life. But hey, if you're not ruining somebody's life, then what's the problem? We're college students. We can't transcend this stuff. That's what they're thinking, which is absolutely wrong, because they can transcend it. And at the end of the program, which it always sinks down to the mundane platform. Generally speaking, all of these things, even in Krishna consciousness, there's people sink it down to the mundane platform. She said, somebody gave an announcement, one of the organizers, the girl, she said, oh, so, I just have an announcement, yeah, I'm going to pass out these cards and these little things you can put on the refrigerator, and, it explains what is consent, What's consent? Means sexual consent. Means that, you get an idea, what you're getting yourself into. So in other words, it's not encouraging all the students to be chaste. It's just like, it's a hard, it's a hard, or what to speak of, go without. Abstinent. It's not teaching them to be that. It's teaching that, hey, well, it's going to happen. We're students, and just, try to control it or whatever, consent and all these different things. So in other words, it sank down to a mundane platform. So real, spiritual process, it teaches one how to transcend all this, how to become free from these urges, these desires, these materialistic things which completely sink you, completely enslave you to the bodily concept of life, in which you completely identify with the body. I am this material body, which is absolute illusion. So, although, I'm saying all this, and I really don't mean to, deprecate, Sriman Jeff or his endeavors, or, the Buddha's program, or, Lord Buddha. I mean, I have respect for Buddha, he's Krishna, right? Or any of these students. I'm really not trying to shoot him down, metaphysically. But there is a great need for, a spiritual practice such as chanting Hare Krishna and other things, in which people could transcend all this and feel the real bliss of spiritual life. And also, all these people were really nice. Like, most of them were, super nice. A lot of sattvic, people in the mode of goodness. And yeah, I just thought these people were really nice. There was 60 of them, which was surprising. I mean, it was 60 students there at SDSU. And all they did, 8:30 to 9:30, 8:30 to 8:15, you just silent meditation. And everybody was into it, I had a hard time getting into it, but about 15 minutes at the most. I mean, you can't go further than that, And then there was a talk by Jeff for and then there was a discussion around, and then that was it, There wasn't any kirtan or prasad or anything like that, but people seemed there were 60 people. I mean, there's a lot of people. So it seems like these people, they were looking, and yeah, I'm not saying they're not finding anything there, but my point is that Prabhupada actually came to dismantle these types of ideas. And what are those ideas? Impersonalism, which means God's not a person. He's a light. No, Krishna's a person. He plays the flute, and he's got a threefold bending form. He wears a peacock feather. He's got a particular color of eyes, which are bluish, actually. He's a person. Radharani, she's a person. So Prabhupada came to dismantle these impersonal ideas. And voidism. You just merge into nothingness. That means you kill your individuality. It means you're no longer a person. But Bhagavad Gita says you're always a person. Najayate mrite vakadachan. You're always a person. And practically speaking, in our lives, the main source of happiness in our lives is relationships. Just try locking yourself in a room, Just we'll drop, Glenn will take you in a helicopter, we'll drop you off at some island. See how happy you are there. So the main thing is relationships. So voidism destroys that. Therefore, we pray every day. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter of His lotus feet. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, what is it next one? Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gaudavani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Dashtarine. O follower of Saraswati, means the follower of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Dashtarine. You have come to the Western countries, and you are delivering the Western countries from Nirvishesha. Nir means no, Vishesha means qualities, means impersonalism. You're delivering it from impersonalism, means that God's not a person. The goal is impersonal. No. In voidism, merging into nothingness, which is they're quite similar. So you're freeing the Western countries from that. So that's the great need. All right. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes. Because the people may be watching on
Hare Krishna.
From their homes.
You mentioned a self-made guru.
Yes.
What would happen to those initiated by that guru?
I don't know, maybe I should turn the mic off. Well, It really depends because, I mean, I don't want to freak anybody out or spook anybody out. But Sri Upanishad, it has a few verses in which it says that persons who are, in essence, self-made gurus and who are just cheating people, saying they're God and things like that, it actually says that those people have to go to the darkest regions of the universe and suffer there. And it also says their followers do too. And it says one has to, in those regions, one works very hard. So it's not like you're, laying back and white sandy beaches and clear waters and, the pina coladas are coming. It's a suffering condition. But of course it sounds, where's the mercy in that? Well, it's a temporary situation in which the soul undergoes because of their activities, and then they eventually come back up, like that. So that is in the extreme case. And in the not so extreme case, because sometimes devotees, more or less, they may branch off or whatever. They may become like self-made gurus. Like, for example, I just go off to Oregon or something, and I, rent out a storefront, and I, start chanting Hare Krishna, and I tell people, sometimes this happens, you could smoke pot, it's all right, just chant Hare Krishna. And I may mix the philosophy up a little bit more, and then I start initiating them. Okay, your name is, you're Glenn, so now you're, you're Gopal Das Ki Jai, And now, this may not be so extreme where, I'm going to go to the lowest regions of the universe and, good old Glenn's going to come with me or something, Gopal. But yeah, in terms of actually reaching the goal, like, am I going to reach the goal? Have I reached the goal? No. Are my disciples going to reach the goal? Probably not. So it's just kind of like a watered-down process in which it's mixed up with Krishna consciousness, but it's not really pure. And usually the result of that is just mixed happiness and also just a rebirth, like reincarnation. So, but the main point I was stressing was that we should all teach. Like, you should, go out and teach everybody and, like, spread Krishna consciousness, and you should do that too. Everybody should do that. But what I mean is, like, become like a full-on guru and, start accepting disciples and, all that type of stuff. One could do that, but there has to be a lot of training and service and surrender. And one has to be authorized to do that by their spiritual master or other senior devotees. So that's what I was talking about. One shouldn't be too eager to be a guru, but better be eager to be a disciple. So, yeah. The best gurus are the best disciples. Means the most qualified disciples are the best gurus. And the worst gurus are the ones who aren't good disciples. So, yes, Jamal, you had something?
So you were speaking of fearing Maya. You give a story of how Prabhupada had said that certain disciples don't fear Maya enough. And sometimes, I don't speak for myself anyway. We can feel like we're going pretty strong. We can feel like we're having control over the mind and things like that. But what if sometimes we don't have enough confidence in ourselves to stay out of the lower modes? Like, should we be in anxiety? Like, should we be in constant anxiety?
Enough confidence that you'll be successful?
Yeah, like if we're feeling like
well,
we're going okay.
We may be doing great one day, and then we may not be doing so great the next day, and that's called unsteady. unsteady platform of bhakti, which one is supposed to come to the steady platform of bhakti, which they're always just steady. Means there's no ups and downs really, it's just steady. So that takes a lot of practice and time usually, but it's possible. And in relation to confidence, we shouldn't, there's overconfidence. One is overconfident in their abilities and self. So we shouldn't be that. Because that's like, could be a form of pride. Very confident in myself. Or my abilities. And yeah, it could be very dangerous. I mean, there was one story where this guy, he was working with heavy machinery, which means like blades and stuff like that. And one employee was being taught by the boss how to use the machine. And, he's very humble. Okay, how do we, okay, thank you very much, boss man, for showing me this. And, all right, boss. What do you think? People call each other boss nowadays. So, and then the other one was very arrogant. Oh, yeah, I know how to do that. I know. Come on. It's a simple machine. I could do it. Back off, man. And then, more or less, he was saying that. He had that mentality. So, 1 or 2 days pass, and, the heavy machinery's going, the blade's going fast, and off with his finger. He lost his finger. Because he was a little bit too confident. So, I don't want to get into the gory details, but... So, we shouldn't be too confident, but one's confidence really should be in Krishna. And, see, we may think, I really don't have the ability to practice Krishna consciousness, I don't know, maybe I'm a little lazy, maybe I'm a little crazy, maybe I'm angry, maybe I can't control my mind and my senses, maybe I'm uncultured, right? We could just make a long list of stuff that maybe we have our issues, right? My knee hurts, I'm always, whatever, I have a hard time dancing in kirtan because my knee hurts. Just, there's so many things we could come up with, right? Okay, fine. So, but we should think that may all be there, those problems may be there, but Krishna is all-powerful. Prabhupada's all-powerful, spiritual masters are all-powerful, devotees are powerful. So, by their mercy, I'll have confidence in them, that they could lift me up. So that's the main point, to have confidence in them. And if we don't have confidence in them, then, that's caused some difficulties. Because we don't have confidence ourselves, and then we don't have confidence in them, so so then what? So if we don't have confidence in them, or to whatever degree we have confidence in them, we have to increase that to very high degrees. And that is actually called, advancement, surrender. You have full faith in them. And that comes from association and experience and things like that. So, yeah. All right. Does anyone have any other questions, comments? I didn't actually. Maybe I should. I saw her passing them out, and I was like, I didn't even want to look at it. That's explicitly what she was referring to.
I don't know if he was, but I was wondering if it's consent.
Oh, I didn't.
By now, consent basically almost means like, being sexual.
Yeah, I didn't look. I didn't look at and I didn't want to, and yeah. I mean, it's not that I'm some pure being or something. I walk in the that Buddhist program. The light. The light's emanating from me, and everybody recognize. But you do feel certain things, like when you go certain places and when you hang out with certain people, and afterwards, I don't know. I didn't feel so, enlivened, so great. I kind of felt like some energy was zapped from me. Whereas I hang out with devotees, and, it's like enlivening, you feel energized afterwards. You don't feel like, oh man, like, what did that person say, and what did that person say, and like, what was all that about? You kind of feel that. I felt like I needed, and again, like, a lot of the people were nice, but there was just some elements of it that was just a little strange to me. And I just felt that, oh man, I need to chant some rounds. I didn't. I read a little bit and went to sleep, but anyways, I hope this doesn't sound overly critical, but they're really nice people actually. And I could see a lot of them becoming devotees. So, but no, I didn't get that. But you could go next week. I think you should go next week, Mukunda, and check it out, and, you know, go with Joey next week. Okay, Joey. All right, so now we'll have breakfast, and later's the Krishna Lounge. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.